to the problem of the. This house believes that the EU should ban all forms of art, including literature and films that directly insult religion. We think that the main problem in this case is the violence. Violence is everywhere in the Middle East, and it's spreading all around the world because all the problems with in the violence comes with the religion. With this law, we would prevent people more safety. The people will feel more safe. The innocent people will not be included in the conflicts, in the terrorist attacks, in the radical conflicts, with all the violence and stuff.
But sir,
yes?
What's the connection between a movie and a terrorist act?
Yes, that's a good point, but you have to admit that there are some kind of films it's like pulling the trigger for the extremists. They are like hit for the thing, and it's like the trigger. Start. They only need that for starting an action, to cause more violence, to cause more bad things, and they usually don't think that clearly. They act with anger.
Clarification?
Excuse me?
Clarification? Okay, I can see. So you say that a terrorist motivation is a movie that they saw or saw?
Yeah, like the film could be the starting cause. So there will be less new extremists. That will prevent that creating more extremists. And more.
Sir,
Yes.
why do you think that preventing some extremists somewhere is like enough that we can sacrifice freedom of expression for it?
Freedom of expression, yes, but can you prevent the safety to people, like freedom of speech is always important, but innocent people will be harmed when someone opens their mouth and says some stupid things. And, so I will sum up what I said. We want less conflicts, less terrorists. We want a safer world. That's all we want. Thank you.
We have today a government team that doesn't actually identify a proper problem, because they doesn't actually connect a terrorist act with a film, a form of art. They don't say why exactly a form of art is enough to make a terrorist to kill a bunch of people. Moreover, they're not bringing us a model. They're not telling us today how exactly is going to solve the actual problem, because they're not explaining what a terrorist is. They're not killing people because they're a fan of a form of art, because of an insult. They're killing people because they're extremists. They're killing people because this is their way to communicate. They're killing people because in a sort of way they are the ones, they are not rational people. They are not people who think at the consequences. And this has no connection with literature, with film. Through films, we only express through films, we only succeed to express our disagreement with some principles that some extremist religions promote. Moreover, we see that all the government have done is bringing us a big problem, which is violence, and say that, you know, if you will ban some films, you will succeed to stop this. But this is not true, because the factors that violence imply are to a large scale. Violence exists due to all those conflicts in the Middle East. And this has nothing to do with movies, literature, and so on and so forth. This has to do with the government there, with the politics there, and not in any case with the identified problem by the government. Moreover, we see that the only result of this measure will be to stop the freedom of speech of the people. And when we see that the European Union promotes all these principles of democracy, rights, freedom, and so on and so forth, and we can forbid people the freedom of expressing, because this is not what a proper government does. Moreover, we have no credible reason for the government to do so. So it's a useless measure who isn't going to solve anything, considering that the government doesn't do so. Even more, we say that it's a personal choice of each individual if they want to see such a movie and if they want to see such a form of art. Also, the government today doesn't show us how it's going to this be solved. How through banning all the sorts of art is going to solve the violence problem, because they didn't even try to prove us this exact point. Yes, sir.
Clarification, madam. We are talking about violence today in this debate, but we are talking about general principles of violence. We're not just talking about terrorism. In that matter, how do you think that this will not solve a certain part of violence in society?
Sir, we see that discriminating religion in these movies doesn't imply violence. Doesn't show violent images with killing civilians, with killing people in all these forms of art. Moreover, passing to my own substantive, we say today that the most important thing in a state is the fact that the government lets its own people to express freely, and this is what the main idea should be today. The fact that the freedom of expressing your own feelings is the most important. It's something that defines art, defines film, and so on and so forth. And we cannot forbid that without a proper reason, because we say that the factors today in our society, the factor for violence today in our society isn't art. Are other factors like international conflicts and so on and so on. Moreover, we are saying today that it's not a good thing that the European Union should abolish these films and so on, because what their purpose is to send a message to the population that some principles of some religions aren't quite the ones that fit in our today's society. Because we see that we have religions that promote sexist principles, like woman, slave, and so on and so forth. And this should be something that our society should solve. Thank you, and at the end of the day, please oppose.
Hello. Well, the opposition says that there is no relationship between violence and insulting movies. Well, and they also say that extremists are irrational people who kill without reason. Well, I don't think there is any human being that kills without reason. In the West, there are many movies and forms of art that insult many millions of people in the Middle East. For example, the film Innocence of Muslims, which came out a few months ago. It activated a lot of demonstrations in the Middle East, and many people were just very mad at the West and at the US. Even the US embassy became attacked by Muslims because they felt so insulted by the Americans. So does freedom of speech and freedom of your own free thoughts, is that comparable with the hundreds of lives that we offer for that? Is the freedom of speech of one person comparable with hundreds and millions of deaths by terroristic attacks? Because terrorists don't kill for no reason. They feel insulted and they want to show, hey, we don't agree with this. We'll speak our voice out loud and we will show that we don't accept this. So if we limit the freedom of speech, I don't say we don't have freedom of speech, we just limit it. We will save so many lives, and people in a country will feel protected by the government. There won't be spilled any innocent lives, and it also will protect or stimulate multiculturality, because people of different religious groups will communicate better with each other, because they won't feel insulted by the other if they have seen a movie last night on the television which insulted their religion. It also will stimulate economy, because countries of different religions will communicate better with each other, because they won't feel insulted by the other country, so there won't be any inconveniences, and people will feel just free to speak with people from other religions, because, well, they will feel equal and not insulted by the religious group in that country who is bigger and who insult other smaller religious groups. And well, violence will become less, because people do violence because they don't agree with something that is done to them. So if we stop that, if we stop insulting people for no reason, just because someone wants to express himself, people will, the violence will become less, and also the terroristic attacks. So for that matter, we think that banning all forms of arts that directly insult religion will help stimulate the economy, help people better in a country, and stimulate multiculturality. And of course it will save hundreds and millions of innocent lives. Thank you.
We still don't think that films and the creators of films are promoters of terror acts. We don't find that if you watch a movie, then you want to make a terror act or so. We also don't agree with the violence that comes from the films. That film shows us that we must be violent, and we find that freedom of speech is most important. We agree that religion is a human's free will, but also there's a freedom of speech, and it's most important that artists can draw or say what they want to say and make films, and they should not be banned.
Point of information?
Yes.
You said the most important thing is that artists make films about what they want. Is that comparable with hundreds of millions of people dying?
No, don't think that films and filmmakers make those people die or want those people die. We think that there's different problems, not problems. Filmmakers don't make films to start terror acts. We'll find that, and yeah, we find that it's morally wrong to ban the work of artists. As a painter who wants to paint a picture, but if it's wrong in some kind of religion purpose, then he or she should not paint it. We think it's wrong, that artists should have also a free will to paint what they want, and literature also. And also it's against European law that if you're banning something people want to say or film or so on. Yes. We also find that people who people don't have to see the films or read the literature. It's a free choice, and that's not against any religion or so on. Thank you. Dear Mr. Speakers, surrounding names, debaters, it is my pleasure to open this debate from the second government. And first, let's spend a couple of minutes discussing. Let's just spend 1 minute discussing what has happened on the first table and what are the basic principles set out in this debate. So first and foremost, we had the basic clash of not promoting terrorism and not agitating terrorists from inside and outside the countries in order to prevent people from dying and to prevent a safe society for people to live in. And then from the opposing bench, we heard that the freedom of speech as the highest principle in a democratic society. Dear Mr. Speaker, what we're discussing today is we're just discussing direct call to violence in a certain manner that is created by people that want to create literature and films in society. This literature and films, if they are seen as being in direct violation to a certain people's beliefs, then we think that the person that created such a work of art, being that film, literature, or music, and so on and so forth, they specifically knew what they were doing, and they were specifically targeted a certain group with what they did. So what Mr. Speaker, we're speaking about today is works of art that are deliberately made in order to target a certain group in society, in order to create discomfort into a certain group. So, Mr. Speaker, in order to understand this motion better, we need to understand two things. We need to understand human mentality and their connection to their religious beliefs, and we need to understand what directly imposing violence means. First and foremost, we know that religion has existed for thousands of years now in society, and that people closely relate to it, and that people, when they are prone to a certain religion, they are prone to believing in it full-heartedly. They are prone to believing in the basic principles of that religion with their whole body and soul. Now, if we take this away from people, we're attacking something extremely personal. It's tantamount to taking a member of their family, or a loved one, or so on and so forth. And dear Mr. Speaker, I believe that in a democratic society, if we want to persevere peace, we need to consider this. We need to consider these principles. We need to consider that people cannot be insulted just because some artists wanted to express a certain thing. Now, first and foremost, we need to separate the two works of art that we're speaking about today. We're speaking about works of art that may be interpreted as being insultive to a certain religion. These are not arts that we're speaking of today, because different interpretations can encompass a lot of arts, and we do not want to ban what artists inherently are allowed to do, which is creating art. We want to ban art being film and literature that directly affects, that directly speaks to a certain religion in a manner, in a violent manner, being that they directly insult that certain religion. And dear Mr. Speaker, our substantive viewing or extension today will be two arguments that are going to be the surrounding actions that are gonna come forth from banning this type of art. Now, our first is the protection from the outside world, being that if we ban this kind of religion, we're going to show the outside world that we want to live in a democracy where the people that reside in these countries, in the European Union, have the freedom to express themselves, but are also protected by their respective governments, so they can live in a society and practice their religion without being attacked by certain members of society. Well, by creating this, we are creating a positive image for us in the rest of the world, and in the countries that are most prone to do these terrorist attacks, which are being the Middle East, Afghanistan, so on and so forth. We're going to make sure that we do not agitate the people that live in these countries, that we do not agitate any form of extremist believers that are outside of our borders, so we can protect ourselves from the outside influence, so we can protect ourselves from potential threats from the outside world. And the second argument in our extension today being the protection and the well-being of the people inside the European Union. We know that the European Union has diverse cultures. We know that there are people from all kinds of religions and all the races in the world. Having that in mind, we must not forget that every person has their basic human rights, and the principles on which these human rights work is that my right ends where your right begins. What we're saying today, Mr. Speaker, is that if we do allow and we do not ban works of art such as films and literature that promotes violence towards this religion, we're going to create a distortion in society. We're going to create a segregation, which is going to create which is going to further put apart the masses and create a massive discomfort and hatred towards one another. So, dear Mr. Speaker, what we're saying today is that if we do not ban art that specifically targets creating violence and opposing other people's religions and their personal beliefs, then we're going to have distortion in society. And for all these reasons, Mr. Speaker, I beg you to propose more.
I will try to quickly revise what the proposition has said, and then talk about our own two arguments, which are what is the purpose of art, and under which I will also talk about where does the line go. So first of all, I will do the rebuttal to what the proposition has said, and first of all, they said that the art that is insulting, that is purposely made to be insulting, is a direct violation of a group's comfort and their understanding, and by doing art that is insulting inherently to some kind of group, they are attacking something very personal in them. But we think that for this we need to kind of weigh two big important values, one of them being those people and the comfort of those people, or the freedom of expression. And we think in this case we cannot even try to weigh them, because freedom of expression is like a basis for a nation or for a people being happy and being understanding what they are. We think that we cannot if a religion sometimes or in many times excludes freedom of expression or some sort of freedoms, then why is it even fair that this art cannot exclude some freedoms of that religion? If a religion is doing, limiting the amount of freedom that a person has, why can't art do the same about the religion? We think that if religion inherently is trying to limit our freedoms, then that is an insult to us, those who are doing art or those who are trying to be free. So we think that it is okay for art to insult someone if that someone is already insulting art with their own with their ideas. And thank you. So secondly, the proposition said that we're creating segregation in people, and those insults are kind of, well, yes, they're dividing people and causing conflict. But we think that, first of all, that it's easier to answer when they said that we shouldn't agitate people and trying to do violent acts caused by these art forms, but we think that this is not an actual causal link between this violence and the arts. We think that what the opening government talked about, violence in the Middle East, that is caused by an entirely different thing that has nothing to do with art and has nothing to do with those films. The innocence of the Muslim was just a trigger that started this, but these people, they were waiting for something to agitate them. Anything could have started this. This film was just sort of this final trigger. It could have been anything else. It has nothing to do with the film. And the violence that starts in here, it is also the same thing. People are waiting to be agitated for something that the film has nothing to do with this in particular. Yes.
If you allow something like an insulting movie to be the trigger, isn't it smarter to just forbid these kind of movies?
That is something that I'm going to talk about in our next argument, but we think that the values that we get from being able to show these movies outweigh maybe the fact that it can be a trigger, but we think that is questionable what the link is actually to those violent acts happening. And even if the link is there, we think that let them happen because those values that we're protecting are more important. And so moving on is our own argument, and we're going to talk about the freedom of expression, and under that, what is the purpose of art altogether? We think that the purpose of art is expressing your opinion and conveying a message. Art is like a language in trying to talk about problems in our time. It's like a way that we can, that we can express the problems that we see or that are in society, and we can try to tackle those problems. Now, if we're banning one problem and one section of our world to be completely silent in this field of art, that we're just not allowing to tackle those problems at all, then we're pretty much losing the entire purpose of art in itself. Because if we ban some kind of a segment, then art generally will become more safe. It will be in some kind of a small safe zone where they're trying not to insult anyone, where they're trying to be as kind of conservative and closed as possible, but that is losing the purpose of art. Art is trying to convey a message. It's trying to tackle some real problems in our real society. And an art that is insulting a religion is tackling real problems that this religion is causing. Art is actually a way of understanding what the people want. It's a way of conveying a message of a big group of people who find something wrong. So that is the main reason we beg you to oppose.
Good day. Our speaker talked about the fact that by limiting the freedom of expression, by limiting art, you actually cause some discomfort upon those artists, and in this way these artists are unhappy. But I'm questioning the idea of the people who are insulted. What happens to their unhappiness? So how can, and you're attacking their comfort zone, then you should expect them to react. Because when you're attacking someone's personal beliefs and their comfort zone, they feel attacked, and it is a natural reaction to go against. Where should we stop? Specifically talking about directly insulting a religion. So if I go into a coffee shop and say, hey, you Muslim, you are stupid because you believe in Allah, then that's directly insulting.
Madam.
So again, you say that conveying your opinion, conveying an image about that specific religion means expressing your freedom, and you actually say that, the speaker actually says that you convey an image, a social image, but you actually limit information, because you do not convey an objective image of that religion. You actually, the artist actually expresses himself, and he expresses his own opinion about that religion.
But
so again, he may distort information. And then the ones that do not know anything about that religion and read, let's say, Salman Rushdie's book, the Satanic Verses, may not understand anything about Islamism than the fact that, I don't know, Muslim men kill their wives if they are disobedient. So again, it triggers misunderstanding between religions. The first speaker of the opposition also talked about personal choice, that when you read a book like this, or you watch a film that directly insults a religion, you are actually making a personal choice. But I'm questioning the idea of what happens to children, because children may read the Satanic Verses, Salman Rushdie's book, The Satanic Verses. They may not know anything about that religion, and they can read it at 10, when they're 10, when they're 11, and they're not fully conscious of what they're reading. So again, this shows a limited understanding of that religion. Then again, the first speaker of the opposition spoke about sending a message, that some religions are not okay in principle with our society, but I'm asking you this: are all religions in principle not okay with the principles of the European societies? Can we say that all religions in principle are not okay with this? Okay.
We have been debating about the fact that art is not enough to create violence. Violence itself, caused by extremists, is not caused by the art. It is they kill people, they have suicide attacks because they're unhappy with something. But it is not about the art. It is about the situation with their own governments. Banning art is not the solution to stop these problems. And even if there's art, which there should be, that could insult a religion, it is your own choice to watch it. If you don't want to watch a piece of art that you think might insult your religion, then just don't watch it. You've got your own choice to do what you want. And the European Union should not ban any kind of art that insults religion. The European Union is one of the symbols of democracy, and it should sponsor and support freedom of expression in any means possible. And saying something about your art, about someone else's, with your art, about someone else's belief, is your own right to express your feelings about something. Furthermore, the argument that the opposition, that the government came up that art, it does not. Art might trigger something to happen, but the trigger will always be there. It's just a different one. The violence caused. Yes.
Since you're defending freedom of expression as a principle, would you be offended and/or take any actions if someone stood in front of your house and just randomly shouted out swear words towards you?
No, it is his choice to do that, and if he thinks it will help him or himself, yes, he might do that. But shouting something at my house is not a form of art. It's just an insult. But art itself is caused by an artist, and it's his way to express his feelings. That's a different way to express than just shouting something at someone. Religion expels art. In the Muslim world, it is not allowed to make a painting or a statue about your prophet. But if art is not allowed in a religion, why can't say art something about the religion that expelled art from this religion? And religion insults also other peoples, like homosexuals all around the world. But why can't art say something about religion? Why is this a bad thing?
So are all types of religion against homosexuals, for example? Because I know that Reformed Judaism is willing to take in gay people. They even have priests that are gay. So
yes, I'm not saying that every form of art is, that every religion insults homosexuals, for example, but there are so many religions, and every religion can be insulted by a specific form of art. That's almost impossible not to insult any religion at all by making a piece of art. So the entire idea of when do you insult something becomes very vague when there are hundreds of religions all around the world. Art itself is a way to express yourself and for artists to communicate with others. And when an artist is not allowed to communicate in every way as he wants to do, he is actually censored. He can't say what he wants about a specific topic. And art itself as a way to communicate with others, as the way for an artist to communicate with a bigger group of people, loses its function when it becomes a safe zone where you cannot say anything about other religions. Therefore, we think, and you should also think, that this ban is a bad idea and that you should vote against.